Okay, so when you think of Sydney, Australia, what comes to mind? For most of us, it's probably two things, right? That incredible opera house and that giant bridge. But there is so much more to this city than just its famous skyline. Let's get into it.
We've all seen those stunning, postcard perfect photos, but what's the real story hiding behind them? In this explainer, we're going to peel back the layers on one of the world's most iconic cities. So, let's start with those world-famous landmarks, because believe it or not, even they have some pretty fascinating secrets that you won't find in the travel guides. First up, the Sydney Opera House. I mean, what a building. Its design is just pure elegance, and it was famously inspired by the graceful shape of bird wings. It's a masterpiece, no doubt, instantly recognizable all over the world. But the story of how it actually got built? Yeah, that was anything but simple. And this is where it gets wild. Look at the cost. The original budget was set at a pretty reasonable $7 million, but the final bill? A whopping $102 million. That is more than 14 times the original estimate. It's an absolutely spectacular building, but it also goes down in history as one of the most legendary budget blowouts ever. Now, right next door, you've got its equally famous neighbor, the Sydney Harbour Bridge. But if you talk to a local, they probably won't call it that. To them, it's just the coat hanger. It's a simple, perfect nickname that just, captures its shape perfectly.
And here's the fact that just shows you the incredible engineering behind it. The bridge isn't just a static piece of metal. It's almost like a living thing. On really hot days, the steel arch actually expands, and the whole thing can rise by as much as 180 millimeters. That's about 7 inches. It literally grows and shrinks depending on the weather.
So what about that iconic gray color? You'd think it was some big artistic decision, right? Nope, it was completely practical. Turns out gray was the only color of paint they could find in the enormous quantity required to cover the whole thing. Sometimes the most famous things have the simplest explanations.
But as amazing as those icons are, the concrete and steel aren't what truly defines Sydney. To understand the city, you have to look at the immense natural landscape it was built on. Just to put its scale into perspective for you, take a look at this. The Sydney metro area covers over 12,000 square kilometers. That is more than double the size of New York City. It is a vast, sprawling city that's totally defined by its geography. And the heart of all that geography is Sydney Harbor. It's not just big, it's the largest and deepest natural harbor on the entire planet. The amount of water it holds is just mind-boggling. This harbor is literally the reason the city is where it is.
And this connection to nature is everywhere. The city has over 100 different beaches, including the legendary Bondi and Manly. And if you drive just a little way out of the city, you hit the Blue Mountains. And that cool name, it comes from this beautiful blue haze that hangs in the air, which is actually caused by tiny droplets of oil from the millions of eucalyptus trees.
But to really, truly understand Sydney, we have to go back in time, way back, because the city's modern story is just a tiny fraction of its real history. Just look at this timeline. It really puts things into stark perspective. Aboriginal Australians have lived in this area for at least 30,000 years. The Gadigal people are the traditional custodians of the land the city is built on. And the British settlement? That started in 1788. It's just a blink of an eye in comparison.
And that settlement had a very specific and pretty grim purpose. Sydney wasn't founded to be a trading hub or a military outpost. It was established as a penal colony. The very first fleet of ships that arrived brought more than 700 convicts. So think about that. The city's modern foundations were built by prisoners, exiled thousands of miles from home. So from those tough beginnings, a completely new city has emerged. Let's jump ahead and look at the vibrant, modern Sydney we know today, a true global hub. You might hear Sydney called the Emerald City. Well, that nickname became super popular thanks to a famous Australian play from the 80s. It compared Sydney, with all its dazzling beauty and its hidden dangers, to that magical city from The Wizard of Oz. And today, that dazzling promise attracts people from all over the world. This chart says it all. Almost 40% of Sydney's residents were born overseas. It is a city that is fundamentally built on immigration and shaped by countless different cultures. And you don't just see this diversity, you can literally hear it. It's in the sound of the city itself. Over 250 different languages are spoken in Sydney's homes and on its streets. That makes it one of the most linguistically diverse places on the entire planet.
So, from a design inspired by bird wings to a history stretching back tens of thousands of years, Sydney is a city of incredible contrasts. It's a great reminder that behind every famous landmark and every postcard view, there's always a deeper, way more complex story. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What hidden stories does your own city hold?